Good morning, y'all. I realized earlier that I didn't do a proper bathroom tour. It's a weekend and we are still getting the house where we need it to be. So I just wanted to give you a quick bathroom tour. I don't do a morning routine. I'm sorry, that's more the young, fashionable ladies. As you can see, I'm kind of dressed up because we're going to go into town to get some things. But I just wanted to give you a proper bathroom tour. As you can see, I'm in my full heading out to town glory. Got my retro shirt rocking and my pants. And we have the bathroom, the toilet with the railing. This was installed because I had a bit of an accident a couple of months back where I fell. And it worried my partner enough to where it was like, yeah, we need to put railings in here just in case. We have our railing here on a full-length shower, which I just took a lovely, super hot shower. It was nice. We stepped fully into it, sliding glass doors, which I hadn't had since New York, so it's really nice. It is definitely fun to have my bonnet hanging up there, our little towel rack, swing back around to our supply cabinet, which I'm going to try to rearrange eventually. I've got everything from hair care to cleaners all together. Our toilet paper stockpile because, like I said, you're going to see when we get to the car, this is literally the boonies. And that's it for this part of the tour. Alright, we are heading into town. Maxie Wolf and I. Ooh, we're going to go pick up some stuff from Wally World and West Branch. And then hopefully when we get back I can do a quick outside tour to add to the inside footage. We are still getting stuff together, but it's going to be good. Slow and steady up. Homeowners now, it's a good space. Whew. Listening to some Offspring. I was just talking about how these were one of my favorite bands in high school. Oh man, hopefully Callie and Kiddo stay out of any mischief while we're gone. The kid will probably stay in his room.
Thought that didn't hear him come out, then all of a sudden he's just sitting in the hallway in front of me.
I thought it was her on the floor. That's why I was just like, what? Why? I know it's his quirks, but good lord. Alright. This is our town. Rural farming areas, but it's nice and peaceful and quiet. It's a stretch between neighbors and stuff, perfect for an introvert. Oh, Faith No More, love that song. Horse farm. We were in the South, somebody was like, you got enough land for a cow. And I was like, I live in a townhouse, sir, and I don't want to own a cow. And now we literally got land for cows. And I still don't want to own them.
Everybody to go in on it together. We had a communal cow. like a band name.
Communal cow. Get back, start getting more unboxing done. Just wanted to show how pretty the area is. It's got some fall colors going too. Alright, we are home. Alright. We are home. I'm going to get some outside interior shots of the land. As you can see, all of this is ours. And eventually I want to do a full walkthrough, but it is cold and I am going to go bring stuff inside with Axiom Wolf here. As you can see, we've got a lot of land out here. It's really nice, it's quiet, it is perfect place for riding. This is Dad's truck still. Yeah, Hoopty, loving it. Alright. Day 8 into the new house. Things are coming together nicely. We've moved stuff around. Oh, honey. Yeah, I know, baby girl. What's up? Greg hung a ton of pictures. It looks amazing in here. Callie, okay. As you can see, we still have boxes, but it is looking a lot better. I just wanted to highlight the rooms that we have made. Hey, honey. Ma'am, excuse me. All right. Go get it, baby. Okay. You can see we cleared up this area so that getting to and from the laundry room won't be an issue. No more having to do a tight squeeze. Back here is my grill. I gotta get a grill cover so that it doesn't rust out because we're already in the minus degrees here. It's -1 today, so kind of chilly. Callie, stop hitting the plastic, please, dear. We're not doing that today, right? Right, stop. You cut that out. Being a cat mom is very new to me. I do normally prefer dogs, and I'll talk about that a bit more in a bit. But I'm learning. You're driving me nuts, though, but I'm learning. Okay. Other than that, this is just another shorty to add to the home vlog. Balance that on top of some old stuff right now because everything together in this place. Okay, push this back in just a little bit. Whew. And I figured I'd take you on my daily routine. I try to get back to my 5 days, 2 off, 30 minutes of physical activity with 10 minutes of actual weights. It's important to me to get this done again because when I started making excuses, it's really easy to spiral into the not moving at all. And while I'm not trying to do this for props, I just want to show people that I'm not just talking my shit. I actually do this 5 days on, 2 days off, because you need breaks. I know some people are like, well, if you did it all 7 days, you'd lose weight faster. The goal is sustainable weight loss. It's not rapid, because I've been morbidly obese and super morbidly obese off and on all my life. And I know that the best way to handle this is slow and steady. And to keep where I am not completely immobile is to exercise. One of the things that I learned about myself is I can be stubborn. I can be super stubborn when it comes to my health and my weight. And plenty of times I rapid weight loss for other people. I have an aunt that carried a picture of me around in her wallet because I had lost a shit ton of weight on, I think it was a Slim Fast and some other diet. And she said, I look so happy in that picture. She literally still carries that picture around. Crazy old auntie. She doesn't realize that at that time, it was right before high school, I thought I would slim down, get cute because it was a new school. And then I got attacked. She doesn't know, and she probably still won't know unless she watches this vlog, that that was the year that everything changed for me. That was the year that, 14 years old, I learned that it doesn't matter if you say no. It doesn't matter what somebody wants to do to you. They're going to do it. And it changed my life. And after that, being bigger became an armor for me. Being bigger became a way to test any guy that wanted to date me if they were really into the inner 10. Because if you could get past the outer layer, then I knew you were serious. That's how messed up my mind was with that. And for me, being big is still kind of like body armor for me. And I've got to work on that mental aspect because it does feel like I'm protecting myself at times. And now that I have a partner that is attracted to me and attracted to all sides of my personality, I know that I can get my body into a shape that I'm comfortable with. I'm never planning on being fully skinny. That was never the goal. The goal is to have a weight that I can handle. I am only 5'3", so being too heavy, you feel it. You'd be a liar if you said you don't feel it in your back, in your hips, in your haunches, everywhere. Unfortunately for me, because of the fitness regimens my family put me through, because of the weight loss things that I've gone through, I know how and why my body behaves the way it does. I know that when I put on the pound, it's me being sedentary, it's me making excuses, and I know that the only way I am going to get this off is to keep it moving, keep it pushing. It's not easy. I spent a week and a half, oh, this is my kitty co-star being extra. I spent a week and a half with the full-on move, making any excuse not to do this. And it makes me worry, you know? It makes me worry because I really do like the fact that I'm up to 30 minutes on here. Whew. And 10 minutes with the arm weights. I know that some people, oh, is that going to be enough? You know, there's some people out there that give up after 2 days. I have been at this almost a year now. And while I could do more intensive, I have to also worry about the strain it could potentially put on my heart. You don't just throw yourself into intensive workouts without proper supervision, proper doctor clearance, because you could kill yourself. And like I said in the first vlog, I have way, way, way too much to look forward to. Way too much to plan for. We have the On-Bomb launch coming soon. Mary Band the Misfits, so I'm looking forward to that. I have another book that I'm trying to finish writing. I have Baldur's Gate 3 to get into. I've been told by everybody that I'm going to love the game, and I know. I've watched so many amazing playthroughs from friends. I'm looking forward to it, but I made a promise to myself, especially with the move and stuff, that I am going to focus on getting the creative stuff finished, or at least somewhat rough draft finished, before I start goofing off with gaming again, seriously. I already plan on going back to my Sunday static group. I am looking forward to that. But as far as gaming, it's going to be a while before I can get fully back into that the way I used to. My family relies on me to keep on my routine now. Even now, because normally, like on Sundays, you might see if I tape myself doing this on Sunday, the TV might be on with YouTube. Right now I have my earbuds in and I'm listening to stuff on YouTube. But it is early morning, so kiddo is doing his schoolwork and I'm already enough of a distraction as it is. I don't need TV during the day. There's a house rule. During the day, outside what I listen to on my phone, I don't normally put on the big TV. It's just one of the things we do to keep this house as calm and collected as possible. Whew. One of the things I enjoy listening to right now, one of the things that I ingested a lot during my move was reaction channels. I'm re-listening to FFG's last night chat. Little Miss Chantal is boycotting McDonald's and stuff now, and it's like, you know, just say you're broke. Trust me, as captain of the team, broke ass from time to time, as somebody who has literally gone from having a bit of money to living paycheck to paycheck to now on a nice budget, I get it. But your geopolitical stuff that your contract husband gave you is irking a lot of us. Have your McDonald's. We know you're going to stuff your face no matter what. That burnt crap you made in your air fryer last night, oof. Your lack of story about McDonald's Crunch Wraps being like trolled at you without the meat in them, and it's like, you know you ate the wrap no matter what, so you're not fooling us. But I think the thing that really set me off last night, besides the coughing and the chewing, was once again the cat thing. Because it's like I said in my little short, taking care of your fur baby is going to be costly, but worth it. As you can see in our background, Callie's cat condo where she eats, where she goes to the bathroom. You have another semi-cleaning litter box right underneath all this stuff that we just put together. We've got her shots. We got her spayed. We rescued her almost a year ago to this day. She was a birthday gift. And the thing is, it's not easy being a pet parent. I was always a dog person growing up. I grew up around dogs. I still want a dog. But learning with a cat has showed me not only can I have the patience, but the understanding that I took this life into my home. I am responsible for this life. So watching her give a cat meds that probably shouldn't be given to an animal, watching her make excuses for why Julia doesn't want to lay on that crappy bed she bought. And I'll tell you right now, Callie has a really nice soft bed down here and the other bed, and she'll still lay wherever the heck she wants. She likes laying under the chair now too because all the dust on it. That's just cat behavior. It's nothing to be upset about. It's not really not much to talk about. But if you're going to talk about it, make it interesting. I think the shit my cat does is cute. I am that typical pet parent that even when they're being a little shit, it's like, oh, isn't that adorable? And so far, she's more behaved because I don't let her jump on things that she's not supposed to jump. I'm very strict when it comes to scratching up my stuff, you know. I consider being a pet parent the same as being a parent. You can allow certain things that are natural for a pet to do, but if you're letting your pet just tear the fuck up, why even have that in your home? You know, cats and dogs are very intelligent creatures, and they will listen. They understand certain human cues and commands. She loves to eat when we eat now. She loves watching what we do. She will sit in the background half the time watching a stream or do other things. She is a very intelligent kitty, and that is why I don't allow her to just run roughshod and do destructive things, because you can train anybody, pet or people, to be better. And it just drives me nuts because you know Chantel can't really make good life decisions herself. So yeah, she's not going to be able to teach Julia how to be a better kitty. And it's just the way it is. Whew, okay. 10 minutes of arm weights done. I might try to do more. Normally do it till I feel the burn, but whew, I still got 20 minutes of actual pedaling to do. I feel like the whole idea of bringing a life into your home is tough enough. And when Greg brought Callie into my life, it was because I was starting to feel a bit manic about, we've been engaged for about 2 years now. And while we got the house in May, there were times that, who is texting me? Probably him. There were times where I wondered if we were going to continue down this path, because there are times, even after they slip the ring on your finger, that there's that lull and stuff. And then all of a sudden, it's like, bam, we get the house. Bam, we're moving in. Bam, we're new pet owners. And it was like, okay, dude, okay. You don't have to prove to me anymore that you're serious about this. I get it. Let's slow down. So it's been good. This upgrade to home ownership, having fur baby and stuff, it makes me feel that he is seriously taking a lot of stuff that I want to do in the future serious. With the writing, with us getting married, with the potential child in the future, and I'm happy about that. But I've got to work on myself for that too. I already carried one kid to term, super morbidly obese, and I didn't even know I was pregnant till 38 weeks in, and that's a scary situation. Having the doctors look at me like, how did you not know? And it's like, did you look at my body? Of course I didn't know. And I had non-lucidity issues back then too. This is a whole Florida story. Eventually I'm going to focus and have the full Florida archive done. But with pregnancy for me, it was a rough time being that big and having a baby. And I would not recommend the way I found out, everything I had to go through. The fact that they didn't even want to give me pain meds because they didn't think they could inject it into me. You don't want to go through that. So I am making sure that if I do go through this again, especially with the high level of black mother-infant mortality rates in this country, that I get my shit together. Because I lucked out the first time. I don't know if I want to roll the dice on that again. I've got to get back to a maintainable weight. That way, if people want to ask me, oh ma'am, are you carrying something? They're not just insulting the belly rolls. I got to be jovial about this, because there are so many people that don't understand that there are plenty of women in America right now that are my size or bigger having kids, and it's so dangerous. And it's one of the things I started thinking about, especially after 40, because I know some people think, well, aren't you going to have menopause? There are some women that hit early menopause. There are some women that get the hysterectomy so that they don't have to go through what I go through each month either. But there are women who wait. Janet Jackson had her first and only child at 50. So I know it's possible. My grandmother, who thought she went through menopause in her early 40s, had to come back in her 60s. So our bodies, we are still learning basic female biology, because for centuries it was deemed, well, it's not important. Either they can have kids or they can't have kids, and that is the only function they've given to us women. And now that we understand that even the way our brains are wired, early on, when I was younger, because I was constantly watching kids, being around kids, surrounded by a large family full of kids, I didn't want kids at first. I didn't think I'd ever want to be a mom, and then I changed my mind around the age of 27. And I had kiddo, and he's been my world since. Being his mom has been a journey, and it's not one I regret at all. I'm learning. I learned with him, and I still learn and grow because of him. And I think it really humbles you when you know not only is this life depending on you, but that you're going to help them be able to grow and be independent on their own as well. That is the cool thing about Gen X. I'm not as hands-off as my parents were with me, but because of all the nurturing I had to learn how to do, I was able to do that for kiddo with the still sternness of, you're 18 now. Life is changing for you there, Skippy. You gotta get it together. You gotta learn how to do things because I'm not always gonna be here. And that is the reality that I need to make sure he understands fully too. He's on the spectrum. He's autistic. He's functioning. That's why I tell people all the time, it's a spectrum. Even those you think aren't functioning, they're functioning at a different level. They see the world in a different way than we do, and they deserve the grace and understanding. And with good parenting, especially, you can have a child that might not understand social cues like regular people do, but still is polite enough, still listens, still does what they're told and beyond. So I just feel like people make a lot of excuses for special needs, just like they make a lot of excuses for mental health, and you don't really know people like that. Or if you do, you see like the messy side of YouTube and think that is the only way to be autistic or mentally ill. And I just wanted to dispel some of those myths, and I know maybe it's because of the way I was raised. And I'm definitely going to do a family recap vlog eventually too. But I just feel like the way I grew up made it hard for me to act out. It's always in the back of my mind that the things I do reflects on my family. The things I do can come back to them in a negative way. And I just don't want to be that person that does that. So, yeah. I am very, very protective of my peace, of my family. I almost said my posse. I don't have a posse no more. That was New York days. I'm very protective of my partner, especially. We were best friends, and might as well start that story while I'm on the bike, working my behind off. Whew. We met in 2003 actually. It was 2003, right at the tail end of probably one of the worst relationships in my life. And I was going through severe depression and losing myself in a Mush Client video game. It's one of those mud games where it's text-based, but it was an RPG, and it was an intricate RPG. You could make characters, you can adventure. The chat responded to you like you were actually doing commands, like firing, casting magic. So it was a fun game, and you can interact with other people. It was an MMO with words. So for a nerd like me, perfect. And I met Axiom Wolf by a complete accident. He was in Town Square, and I was putzing around making stones on my girl Cersei for a bit. And then he brought me a rose. And after that, we just started talking and questing together. And, it started out pure friendship. Because I was in a relationship. And unlike some people, I don't believe in cheating. If I'm with somebody, I'm with somebody. I'm a loyal bitch, even if the person doesn't deserve it. And trust me, my ex did not deserve it. But it was nice having a nerdy friend that understood, dark days, understood, this is how 10 is, it's okay. And I could be my unapologetic self with Greg. And it just felt right talking to him. And I'll never forget the one Valentine's Day before me and the Florida numbnuts broke up. Greg sent down this huge box of Sailor Moon stuff because he had like old VHS tapes and stuff that he didn't really get into a series as heavy as I did, but he knew I was a super Sailor Moon fan. And the first thing my ex says to me is, "Oh, is that the person you're cheating on me with?" But he was the one that was cheating. Like, you're blaming me because I have a friend sending me gifts because he knew, because he listened, that I was super into Sailor Moon, but you were the one who was cheating. So I'm just like, I don't accuse people of cheating. I've always said, if you're with me and you got to sleep with somebody else, then move on. I don't want diseases. I'm not trying to fuck around because you always find out. And because of what happened to me as a kid, I'm just not that into that. I think intimacy for me, has to be on both a mental and physical level. If I trust the person, then that's fine, but it takes a lot for me. I still flinch at my partner's touch because of stuff that happened to me. And I'm not okay with just casual stuff. So when my ex decided that he was going to stick his, you know what, into anywhere, that was me saying, okay, we're done. And I'm serious about that. The moment I knew. And the best part was when one of the people he was cheating on me with, and I really should do this in order when I talk about the whole Florida thing, but it still flips me out to think that he was sleeping with a friend's mom. This woman had all kinds of a drinking problem, all kinds of issues. She came knocking on my door. I'm about to have my son, about to pop with this pregnancy. She knocks on my door and says, "You're the one keeping us apart, and that it's not fair that you use this baby to try to keep him." And I looked at her like she was crazy because at that point, it had been 6 months since I really let that motherfucker touch me, period. And even finding out I was pregnant, I was shocked because I was trying to figure out ways to getting out of that house. I was looking at group homes. I was looking at begging my family to just let me stay with one of them. I was looking for an out. So it cracked me up that she was like, "You're the reason why we can't be together." So I closed the door in her face. I went and I packed the bag for my ex. Quick bag, because I didn't care. Do a bunch of shit and then opened the door, brought the bag outside and said, "If you want him, you take him. I'm done." Like, that was it for me. I knew he wanted to cheat. And I probably had a sinking confirmation that he was. But that was direct confirmation. And I didn't really want him bothering and touching me anymore anyway. I felt gross. I was super big at that point, about to have his baby, not feeling appreciated as it is, dealing with mental health and depression. I was ready to be done. One of the things that I will tell you, no matter how big I get, I was taught to value my self-worth. I was taught to value what I can bring to a relationship, whether, it's just my smarts, my sass, my finances, whatever. I know that I bring value to a partnership. So when my partner disrespects me, I will bounce. I can be on my own. I'm not afraid to be on my own. And that's why my current relationship works. He does his own thing. I do my own thing. Like I said, I think that's why Callie and I get along, because I have a real cat personality. Sometimes I do like a little bit of affection and cuddles, and then I want you to leave me the fuck alone. I think that's natural for normal people. I don't like clingy. I don't need clingy. And I think that clingy people would drive me nuts. Even my friends. Sometimes I get love bombed with texts from, especially my one writer friend. She'll message me, see if I'm okay. We'll give long walls of text on certain things. And then we leave each other alone for a few weeks. Because she's busy writing, I'm busy writing. It's a good thing when you understand and you're friends with fellow introverts especially. It's not that constant, I have to bother you. Because I am a very, people say they're antisocial, and then they have to socialize on YouTube and pretend like they're that girl that can be everything. I'm really antisocial. I am selectively social, more like it. And I know, oh, you're not special with that. I'm not trying to be special. I'm trying to be honest about that. Because a lot of people say it, and then they do the exact opposite. And I have friends. I actually love that I'm living closer to some of them. But even they know, just because Tim lives up here doesn't mean Tim's going to hang out. Just because Tim lives up here doesn't mean we can just stop by uninvited, you know. That stuff isn't gonna fly. But I'll tell you, I did have a dream that 4 years from now I'm gonna hit the big 50, God willing, and I definitely want to have a party out here, like a little baby barbecue get together with my friends and people I care about. Because if I push and get some of the goals that I want to get done by 50 done, I am going to have a lot to celebrate. Like, I am really looking forward to getting this next novel finished. I am looking forward to the webcomic launch. The other stories I have in my head coming out and either being graphically designed or written out in full length. There's just so much to push for. And I'm just lucky because, like I said, I have the kind of partner that not only supports the stuff I do, even if it's stuff like pushing myself for 30 minutes on this bike until I am puffy, out of breath, but feeling like I'm doing stuff. Whether it is how supportive he's been of Kiddo and I, in spite not being his biological dad, stepping into the role, and being the protector that we sometimes need. And now I act like a tough girl, and sometimes I can be, but there are times where it's nice to feel like you have somebody that has your back. And that is what I felt all the time with Greg. And now it's even better now that we're an official couple and we're getting married. It feels unreal at times. There were good times when I was alone. And I will definitely talk about those 12 years that I legitimately did not want anybody in Kiddo in my life. I did not want to risk my son. I was not going to risk myself. I watched way too many true crime where women just let any old dude in because they didn't want to be alone, and everybody suffered from it. So it was good having those years that it was just him and I. It bonded us stronger than I think it would have anybody else because, we only had each other and it was a good time. But now we have newer times and our family's expanding and growing, and it's a good thing. I think when you figure out who you are, you can be yourself with anybody. And you'll get the people who are meant to be around you. But you'll also repel a lot of people if you're not genuine. And I think that is the difference between me and some people, like Little Miss Foodie Looty, calling her out again, because it aggravates me. I wanted to root for her. I had only seen reaction channel content of her Natter saga, and I honestly thought that she and I had a lot in common. And then when I got the real gist from watching FFG's recap of her past streams, whew, when I say that sometimes my vibes aren't always right, and they were completely wrong with that. And I think it was more me feeling sympathy for somebody I thought went through it. And then when you find out the truth, feeling betrayed. Because there are people out there that want that tragedy, that want that partner that disrespects them or hits them or, says things like, you'd be prettier if you were just not so fat, and other awful things. They want the partner that cheats on them and treats them like shit so that you can be the victim. I don't like that feeling. I never wanted to be the victim. I wanted to date somebody that wanted to fully be with me. And when I became too much for him, at least have the responsibility to say, I'm out. I don't like those have my cake and eat it too tight guys. And I'm glad I'm with somebody now that isn't like that. We have stability. And I just don't get the people that don't want stuff like this. I don't get the people that think that it's more important to flash a fake, flashy relationship over something that is stable and positive and that might even push you to be a better person. I think it's infuriating at this point. And not just because I am feeling super sweaty and tired, but I am almost at 30 minutes, y'all. And then I'm going to wrap up this segment and maybe do a kitchen segment after this. I don't know. I just wanted to show you that a Spectra can exercise. I am on a recumbent bike right now. It is good for the winter because once that snow hits, there is absolutely no way I'm going to be out in this weather. But 30 minutes with 10 minutes of arm weights, it really does pay off. As you can see, I am sweaty, but it is totally worth it. I honestly feel like I might not look it some days. I might look even puffier, especially during my menstruation days. But I can feel the effects, and I feel that I'm able to do more as the weight comes off. And building my muscle mass, especially with doing arms and stuff like that, that'll pay off in the long run too. So, like I said, this is a slow and steady journey. I really do intend to stay on the 5 days, 2 off plan, and we'll see. We'll see where I'm at a year from now. I'm really looking forward to this. But I'm going to wrap this portion up, go get a shower because I am super sweaty. It was worth it though, and I'm glad that you were here to see me do a portion of this. I probably should have aimed this a bit better on the bike, but as you can see, I'm a big girl. Okay, let me, I think I stopped it. It might have started another one. Okay. All right. We have been unpacking still. We have finally found my stoneware and ramekin set, so I'm happy about that. We found our Thanksgiving set as well. I'll put those up already. We are going to make peanut butter cookies. I made the dough yesterday, and I did not tape myself making the dough. I was talking to myself about all the tips I use, including making sure you cream your butter, fat, and sugar separately from the flour so that you don't overwork the gluten and make hard cookies. I had to learn the hard way about making cookies that way because it can get frustrating, you know. You learn years of cooking, you make mistakes, and I think if you want to do something, you got to learn how to deal with messing up and getting it right. So I'm zooming in. You can see peanut butter. I have peanut butter chips in it as well. And it's just a simple peanut butter recipe that I got offline and then I modified. My original versions of this were just little puff balls, but the denser dough that I make now makes nice big full cookies. I'm sure I showed pictures of it in my first vlog where I showed all the baking stuff that I like to cook. But I just wanted to show you guys and gals and non-gender binary pals all the stuff that we do in our kitchen. Give me just a moment here. I'm going to set the camera down. As you can see, I tend to listen to YouTube and react stuff while I'm cooking or exercising. And I will have that video up as well. But I'm going to sit this down for just a moment. Why are you jumping down, baby? What is with you? Get chill. It's cookie baking time. You need to chill out. I cannot with the whole idea of being jealous of anybody because that ain't my life, man. I spend most of my days in my head plotting story stuff anyway, so I just don't understand. And I think I'm with this young man when I say that I was originally supportive of Chantal's nonsense when I thought she, like I, suffered from actual partner abuse. And like I said, I'm not saying that she didn't go through some stuff with Natter, because everything I seen of the videos that made me originally thought I was going to support her was the thought that this guy's a jerk, and why is he being so mean to somebody that clearly cares about him? And as I've been watching FFG's reacts to her stuff. Whew, child. Okay, let me put these in and then I'll get the others on hand. Okay. There. I am working on my health though. Pretty soon I will be back to being able to be up and about all the time making stuff. Until then, we do what we can. When people accuse somebody that is just a chameleon actress. She's not a sociopath. She wouldn't know. Maybe she is. Maybe she's just not been diagnosed. But she doesn't give me that vibe. Because she really does give a fuck what people think about her. And I can tell you. And I wish I could really explain this better to people. Because you aren't in my head. When I say, as a sociopath, I might give a fuck about some things, but I don't really care what people think about me. This isn't a humble brag or to act like I'm a badass. I just, in my mind, can't. I can't. I refuse. I just don't have the energy to add to people that don't like me. I just, good. Less people to fucking bother me if you don't like me. That is how a lot of sociopaths... And I laugh at the whole idea of empathy, too, because it's not that hard, even when you don't understand why people are feeling that way, to see people's emotion, analyze why they feel that way, and react. And I feel like people get empath feelings twisted. I don't think I'm bad with it. I do like, especially for, like, friends and family, being there for them, hearing what they have to say. But I can't act like I constantly relate to the stuff they say to me. And I don't pretend. With the people who are close to me, they know. Tin's blank face doesn't mean she doesn't care. Tin's blank face just means, she's registered what they said, but she doesn't really understand. And you could tell when she's just trying to analyze and give us the best answer. I think I handle life as best I can with what I have. It just drives me nuts when people throw out the word sociopath without realizing that there are real ones of us out there. And we had to learn that what we have is not a horrible thing. Because, Hollywood loves to show us as just violent killers and other nonsensical things. Oh my gosh. I don't understand mukbangs. I call them mukbangs. So. Mukbangs. I just don't get the appeal. I wish I did. I wish I could. I just don't like the sound of people eating. I don't understand it. And if it wasn't for reaction channels, I probably would not suggest myself to other people doing that. Because for me, it is kind of gross to hear somebody chewing like that. Yep. Nice day. Nice people out there as well, and those people drive me nuts. I'm just like, of a camera. I just don't. I don't understand the people that are like, I'm sick, but you gotta pay attention to me. And it's just like, ma'am, pretty much what she did. She watched FFG's channel, and it's just sad. We said things like, "You're sick, so why don't you have soup instead?" Next thing she's eating soup. She's eating the pumpkin or lentil soup that we were talking about, because there was several different soup suggestions. And it's like, can you be more transparent that you hate watch your reaction channels, that you sit there stewing because they point out how you could be a better channel? I legit don't even understand Chantal's nonsense anymore. I don't understand why she does what she does. But I do hate that so many people put her in the same boat as those of us with actual diagnosed mental health issues. Because until she's officially diagnosed, she can claim whatever she wants, but I don't even see the similarities on us anymore. I see a lot of acting. I see a lot of sympathy baiting. But what I don't see is actual mental health issues. Oh, I got sticky hands. I have got to wash my hands, get those in, wash up these dishes. Faster. All right. We are going to get these bad boys into the oven. And it's like I said, I really did not want to hate that woman. I really thought she and I had a lot in common. Unfortunately for me, and the few times my vibes were off about somebody, she proved to be a fraud. Oh, I love this oven. Greg's parents gifted us a brand new oven for the house, and it's propane based, so brand new. Oh, don't roll, baby, no. There we go. I cannot wait to make my Thanksgiving dinner in this. Alright, and as you can see, we have got the kitchen a bit more organized, a bit more together. There's a bit more of a walkway around here now. We're getting the boxes lined up, stacked up. There are a lot of movie boxes. We've already decided to go through a lot of our doubles and probably sell off a lot of stuff that we aren't planning to keep. We've got our books, because we just put in a new bookshelf. So I'm excited about that. Like I said, slowly but surely unpacking, finding things like my stoneware. They just sent us another chair too, so that's going to be fun to put together. But like I said, already got my bookshelf, rocking the manga. And pretty soon I'm going to get my hardcover books. I would say hardcore. Don't really have a lot of those, y'all. Not going to lie. I'm an adult. I like my smut, but I keep it in mediums that don't leave too much of a footprint. I think I have one really racy book by Alan Moore and his wife, and I'm still not through that one. But I'm going to end this part right here, slice it in. Well, I'll probably come back to show you what the cookies look like after they're done baking. I think it would help if I hit record. But like I was saying earlier, I wanted to show the finished product of the cookies, and then I started piling them onto this plate. Yes, I know it is not a regular plate. I cleaned those, but the plate that I normally use for the cookies are still dirty, so not that I really needed to explain, but I figured since I call out Chantal for her lack of kitchenware, it'd be hypocritical if I didn't point out that, yes, I'm using a Dixie plate for these cookies to cool them down. A, because my cooling racks are still kind of meh, and I want to clean everything before I use them. It's a bit of my OCD, please don't mind me. Other than that, cookies are done. Family seems happy about them, right? Yeah. So, yeah. That's it. I am going to go get a shower and then move on to the next segment. Ooh, so I am fresh out of the shower. I had just gotten cookies baked. I am in a better mood now that the house is starting to come together. But, we still got a lot to do. It's going to take time. And luckily for us, we have that. But as you can see, and as it slowly comes together, we are building this place up to be ours. We're hanging pictures, we're just getting adjusted to home ownership life, and I'm excited about that. Um, like I said, it was a lot to take in, and I'll probably talk about it a bit on the bike. But when we bought the house in May, we couldn't move right in, so a lot of this was done last week, and we have a lot of stuff. Greg and I are both unapologetic geeks, as I showed in the first vlog slideshow. And that was just a little bit of the stuff that I collected over the years, just the Sailor Moon stuff. I haven't been able to show off my comic books and other collectibles that we've accumulated over time. And now it's just trying to find space for all of that, all of our pictures and everything else. Luckily, we have a lot of wall real estate in this place, so we are filling this place to the brim with our prints and pictures and stuff. And it has just been exciting trying to turn our home into our little geek palace. So, it is what it is. But I baked cookies today because it's the fall, and whether you're a big girl or a little girl, if you know how to cook and bake, you want your house having that smell. So I asked Axiom Wolf and Kiddo, what cookies would you want? Because I'm more of a fan of a chocolate chip, especially chocolate chip walnut tends to be my favorite. But the boys loved my peanut butter cookies, and it's evolved over time. I used to make them in little big puffy balls instead of like actual cookies where you bit into them and you got the soft peanut butter chew. And then I morphed into these bad boys. And I try to get the shape a bit more rounded normally, but these came out okay. I'm excited about them. And the thing about it is, when you break them open, because I used the Reese's stuff, you can't really see them in this because they melt down pretty well. What I like about these cookies is that they're affordable to make. The Reese's peanut butter chips, the last I checked on Walmart, is about $2.98, so they're the more pricey stuff. Along with the Kerrygold Irish butter, that I get the 8 ounce non-salted sticks for I think $3.98, depending on where you buy them at. Those are the two most expensive things I use for it. The vanilla is pretty cheap. You can get a bottle of that for like $1.58. The sugar is great value. You can get that for under $2 depending on the size you buy. Flour, once again, great value. The peanut butter is great value. So you can save a ton of money with this recipe, with the exception of like I don't skip out on the butter and I don't skip out on the whatchamacallit, Ooh, Reese's peanut butter chips. I also do prefer the Kroger light brown sugar. I'm starting to run low on that, so we're gonna have to go downstate again to the Kroger to get more because I love their light brown sugar over the other brands. And I've tried all these. They're fine if you can't afford it, but I do think the Kroger brand brown, light brown sugar and dark brown sugar it feels like a better quality when I bake with it. And then what else do I put in there? Because I don't use much else. The cornstarch is pretty cheap as well. I think you can get that at most shops. The brand I use is $2. So all in all, the recipe, once you get this stuff, it should be a normal pantry staple for any household, any home cook, to have your flour, have your cornstarch, have your baking soda, have your kosher salt. I like kosher salt because I can't have iodine salt because of my allergy. So it's just little things you learn as you get older to have in your kitchen to make good cookies. One of the things I enjoy, and I'm gonna stop talking for a moment because I hate talking and chewing. I hate eating on camera pretty much too. What I wanted to show you is that I don't just walk the walk, I talk the talk. I do what I say. I don't have time in my life to be fake. And I definitely don't have time in my life to call out people and that act like I don't do certain things. I think you can tell by the size of me that I go up and down in my weight, and I'm not a little woman. One of the things I've been watching a lot more on YouTube is reactions to things like my 600-pound life. I found Sean Steele recently, and he is amazing. He makes me laugh because he's point blank, like a lot of us who've gone through this, who have been super morbidly obese. And I know some people look at me and say, "Are you still there?" I don't think so. I am morbidly obese, but when I say super morbidly obese, I mean I was 500 pounds, 507 at my worst. I am currently 351, and I don't say that for a pat on the back because I had gotten down to I think 275 at my best. But as I said in the first vlog, when I get in the headspace of being spiteful, when I get angry, and when I lose weight for other people and not for me, I tend to put it right back on. And that's why I said this can't be rapid weight loss because I know my own mental issues when it comes to being stubborn, when it comes to pain days, when it comes to making excuses. And I had to learn how to breathe, how to push past, how to stop making excuses when I don't want to do stuff and make myself do stuff. And it isn't always easy. And what people on this don't like telling you are there are a lot more days where you're acting like a baby when it comes to certain things because it can hurt. When you get a certain size, especially on a frame like mine, I'm 5'3". Realistically speaking, I've had doctors say it to me, I should be weighing in the lower 100s to be safe. But for me, because of the things that happened to me when I was younger, it was easy for me to see fat as an armor. It was easy for me to think that this barrier of weight would keep the people that I don't want near me away from me and only surround me with people that want to be around me. And it was a weird mindset to have, and I still kind of have it in a certain extent because I do feel that I would never feel comfortable being fully skinny. And I know it's hard for some people to understand that, but that is how my brain works. I would never feel comfortable not having like poundage on my body. I've always been a thicker girl. So I think that I would not feel comfortable if I didn't have some kind of curve roll a little to me. But I know that there's a difference between curvy and being super big. And when I started getting sedentary again, which I'm going to say really began before the pandemic, I realized that I am getting back into bad habits. You see, when we lived in Durham, we moved in 2012. I had escaped a really bad relationship in Florida. And I really do think that my Florida stories will have to be in its own separate vlog because there's a lot to unpack with that. It's not to tease y'all, it really is a lot to unpack with what I went in Florida. But in 2012, I decided I can't do this anymore. I was living in Georgia with the family, and my grandmother had passed. I tried to make it work with my mom, but I had became super sedentary again, and I had a young 5-year-old at that time. You know, I had left Florida in 2005 with my child when I had him, and I lived with my family first in South Carolina, then in Georgia, and I realized that I can't do this. I am not moving. I am not doing anything for myself. And I am getting bigger, like ridiculously bigger. And with me, weight doesn't distribute in a normal way for me. Fat, as you can see from my face, I don't get like the super chins unless I have too much sodium. I get it in my arms, I get it in my thighs, I get it in my behind. And I know when the belly starts to get super big, that's when I'm really at a danger zone because it for some reason my belly does not barrel up like some people, but my thighs do. And it's bad because when my thighs get super thick, it is harder for me to walk. And then I start making those excuses like, oh, I can't do this. And when you get that I can't mentality, it gets really hard to push yourself out of that mindset. It's not impossible, but it is a lot harder to do what you got to do when your legs are like that. And getting back to the point, in 2012, after my grandmother passed, we had lost my younger sister, and I was living in Jonesboro, Georgia with my mother. I realized I was falling back into bad patterns. And I realized something early on living with my mom that when I am with her, it becomes easier for me to make excuses for my bad patterns. And that is not to say it's her fault completely at all, because I was still the one making those decisions. I was still the one eating and not moving and isolating myself. But I started, especially with therapy, questioning why I did stuff like that. Why I felt that it was easier for me to shut myself in my room and stuff my face when living together with the person who you're supposed to be able to turn to. I realized I've never been able to really turn to her. And this was a year after the person that I could turn to passed, so I ate a lot of my grief. And I realized that kiddo was going into the first grade. We had already had an active shooter lockdown at his school back then. And that was making me paranoid. And I didn't want to completely pull him out of school. But Jonesboro was not making me happy. And I was getting really super manic with my mom to the point where I was angry all the time and depressed and not leaving the house and barely doing anything outside taking care of kiddo. And I needed a change. So my godparents who lived in Durham approached and were like, look, we see that you're not doing where you need to do. We know you. They thought they knew me. We want you to come up with kiddo and you can stay with us. We'll get you on your feet. You'll get a place. You'll be fine. And that's the thing with my family. They constantly offer help, and I will always appreciate that aspect. We try to look out for each other. And I think that's a lot of big families. You don't send your problem kids to foster care. You send them with an auntie or an uncle. It's always how my family has handled stuff. It's always been more internal. And sometimes it's been to the detriment. But I did accept their offer, had a cousin help load kiddo and I up, took what we could, left my mom in Jonesboro, and moved to Durham and started my new life. And right off the bat, my godparents were like, we need to get you healthy again. You are way too big. You're bigger than when we left you at the funeral last year. What happened? And I didn't really want to talk to them about stuff with my mom because, as crazy as it is, my mom and I we don't have a relationship at all anymore. But I was protective of her because I believed in the whole, oh, you're just shitting on the black sheep storyline that she used to say. And my family can be pretty blunt and brutal when it comes to certain things. So I was still a bit protective of her character. Because back then, especially, it felt like they were attacking me too. So I was just like, no, we're not going to do that. I know you're mother of the year for my godmother and everything else because she had the big house and everything else. But I wasn't going to let her shit on my life or make me feel like I'm bad because I had to ask for help. So we lived with them for about a year and it was full diet. They put me on keto, they had me exercising constantly, and the weight went down. And I went back from because I got at my lowest, I think it was 205 at my best, maybe. Might have been higher than that. But I got back down to 297 with them, just walking everywhere, trying to get out of the house because as much as I love my family are not my people. And I had to learn that the hard way. It's not all of them. There's some cousins that I love to death and I would go to bat for. But the main majority of my family, I just don't fuck with anymore because we just don't have that kind of personality. I get along with anybody for a short amount of time, but it's exhausting being with people that just don't try to understand that you're quiet
You like your books. You like to be in your head more than you like sports and everything else. And I had a very sports oriented family, so you pretty much had to pick a sport. So I was volleyball, soccer, anything I could let my aggression out on type player. Handball, especially, was a fun sport in New York. I don't know if you play it anywhere else. There was a stone wall where you could slam like this rubber ball and you had to hit it. And it was just a way to let out aggression. And I think even back then, now that I'm older and I understand why I went for like contact sports like that, it's because I had a lot of pent up aggression and it was a way to healthily, somewhat healthily channel that. Volleyball, especially, just lifting, serving really hard, hitting it. Oh, that was just stress relief for me. But I realized that you don't always have those ways to relieve. And I used to also lean into very toxic, sedentary ways. And I had done it before I got up to Durham. And then I got healthy and walking again. And then when we moved into our townhouse out of my godparents' home, which was great. That was like 4 years of just absolute joy and freedom. It was just kiddo and I. We walked a lot of places because I didn't have a car. The school was right there, like not even 5 minutes away. So I would walk them to school each morning, hold the door for the kids, volunteer if they needed me, and I wasn't doing my work because I worked from home. I loved it. I could work from the townhouse because he was in school most of the day. So if I wasn't doing the promotions for my gaming company and magazine, I took on a customer service job as well, and I had enough income to take care of kiddo and I, and it was just a good, quiet time. And for the first 2 years of that, full on active, full on just doing my own thing, dealing with my godparents, who that was, they went from people that I trusted to people that I never want to see or talk to again. And it was mostly her and what she tried to do to my kid. And you know what you did, and I will never forgive you. I feel like family for me is a point of contention now because of all the stuff, that unnecessary stuff that they've put us through because they think they know better, they think they are better, and you feel that way. But I know I don't need you. So I think I'm doing better at that. When it got to about fourth grade for kiddo, I allowed my mom back into my life, which I had already asked Axiom if we had just started dating around that time too. Did he think it was a good idea? She says she's changed. She was alone for a bit after losing grandma, dealing with my sister because she could never really live alone. So I say she was alone, but I mean she wasn't dating anybody and supposedly off the stuff that she used to be on. And I thought, you know, I don't really have a good relationship with her, but it was my responsibility. This was my mindset back then to take her into the house and make sure that she was okay. Worst mistake of my life. Taking her in seemed like it was going to be good. Seemed like it was going to be okay. We can use her extra income. She got me out with this bill, that bill. Never happened. She couldn't wait to figure out the illicit scene, as I call it, once she got up there. And the problem with bringing somebody who has addiction into your life when you also have an addictive personality is you will enable the more toxic sides of yourself. It wasn't long before I became more sedentary because we got a car, which ended up being a whole nightmare in itself. We just stopped doing things even though we had the car unless we had to. Mostly her doctor's appointments, weeder food runs, and it was just same old with my mom. The stuff that made it really hard for me to justify doing the right things anymore. And I was feeling in defiance. Yeah, I had lost a ton of weight at my godparents, but they had put us through some shit with their nonsense and their sedity not behavior. So it felt like I was getting back at all of their nonsense to just do me. And I have to get out of that mindset because I'm not hurting anybody but myself when I put the weight on. I'm not showing them that, oh, I can be big and happy because really not. When it's hard to move, when those joint pain days kick in, when that, oh my God, how did I lay because of the weight kicks in? Who am I getting revenge against? And you have to get out of that mindset that they even care, you know? They're anything like my family, especially, they don't. In fact, they probably will laugh at some of this. And that is when you start to realize that it don't really matter what they or anybody else says. The person that you have to answer to, the person who's accountable for everything you do, everything you put inside of yourself, every day you decide, I'm just not going to do it, or don't push yourself. That is you. Like I said, I don't dismiss traumas. I am a literal schizophrenic with bipolar disorder. I full on understand that traumas lead to a lot of this. I'm also a sociopath, so I don't quite understand why humans behave the way they do emotionally. I feel emotion, and that's the thing I think people need to understand about sociopathy. It is not a lack of feeling things. It is just for me like a switch. I can feel a certain level of emotion over something, and then I'm done. I don't I don't need to dwell. I can cut it off. And I think that is the difference between the actual diagnosed sociopath who understands the way my mind works now after years of living like this, years of not really understanding my ways and dealing with people who didn't, and trying to mold myself into what they thought was normal and letting it break me. And I'm just not doing it anymore. After 40, you really start to realize that you can't if you're going to be here, especially with this, because the reality is there are dark days still. You try not to have them, but they do crop up. And I'm lucky that I have a good partner who I met 17 plus years ago. You know, I was pregnant with kiddo during the time he and I really started talking as friends, and I didn't even realize I was pregnant. 38 weeks in when I found out because of the size of me. And I'll probably talk more about that when I get on the bike later on. And it was just crazy meeting somebody who I could be my unapologetic self with. He was dating somebody back then in a long distance relationship with her. I was in a relationship with somebody that I was just not happy with. But we felt good talking to each other, and we could talk to each other about anything. We come from a two different faith household. He is a, well, he likes to say conservative Christian, but I'm thinking he's more leaning towards the actual Christian leaning now, because he's seen the last few years how the label conservative has morphed into stuff that he doesn't agree with ideological wise. And I think anybody who considers themselves spiritually Christian don't want to make enemies out of people, and would definitely not marry or be engaged to a pagan woman. I'm sorry, I'm not changing my spiritual outlook. And when people ask, Ten, what do you mean pagan? I'm glad you asked. I wish I had the things that I normally have hanging up, and we're looking for all of my prints. But I had the wheel of the different seasons because I love studying seasons. I love how the seasons can make you feel. Like, I'm a fall girl. I love the change, the color schemes, the way it's so vibrant, and I feel more energized creatively during fall than any other season. Spring is another close second for me because the blossoming and the bloom and the bright colors as well. But I was born in the summer. My astrological sign, because I go by a lot of the Gemini and then the air sign and stuff, but I also follow a lot of the Asian pantheon too. And I was born in 1977, June of 1977. So I am a fire serpent. If you understand the Chinese zodiac and the animals and the elements and the stuff that's all associated to that. So a lot of the stuff that I'm into, a lot of things that I do creatively make a lot more sense now that I've been studying that. And the reason why I feel spiritually pagan is because instead of following one faith, I've always been interested in studying faith. I've always been interested in respecting and learning about other people's faith without dedicating myself. Because for me, spirituality is always a learning process. I do believe that there may be a higher power out there, but I don't know. And I don't want to lean towards saying I'm agnostic because I think agnostic people really do lean heavier into the I don't know, so they just don't know. But I do spiritually feel like there is higher presences out there. They're just not that into the humans who are still fighting each other, warring with each other, figuring our crap out. And I wouldn't want to be a deity that had to deal with people who only call out to me in need or, that kind of stuff. And that's just how my mind works. And I've always liked the idea of paganism because it is more tied to the earth we're on. I've always felt like everybody's searching for that afterlife, Garden of Eden. Well, we have this big, beautiful planet here. We have this amazing earth that we should be taking care of because this is our garden. And then this is what we should be tending to. And now that I live out in this beautiful nature area, just surrounded by trees and different colors, and just I feel rejuvenated and energized out here. And I know it's weird for somebody who grew up in the city to say that, but I can't imagine living anywhere else now. I am in my comfort zone. I had lived in the South for 20 years and it was laid back and nice, but it was missing those seasons in some spots. Like Florida barely had any seasonal change for me. North Carolina had a bit more, but it still didn't give real winters like here in Michigan. So it is a bit more adjusting again because I got used to not having to bundle up so much and now I have to remember to layer again. But it's nice. And I am excited about living here. And I hope that as I do more of these vlogs, people get to see, the ins and outs, the ups and downs. You'll see and hear Greg a bit more because I think he's really into the thought of home vlogging now, and he wants to do an unboxing bit. So I'm probably gonna tape that. I have some footage of us in the car, but I didn't tape us actually going to Walmart because I think it's boring to sit with the record button while you a lot of times we don't talk a lot in the car. We might banter back and forth from time to time, but the car rides is mostly listening to music. And since YouTube and other sites love to copyright strike you if you play certain music, it just didn't seem right to have you seeing like dead air and road space. So I taped what I could of that. I don't know. I'm still learning, so I'm trying to figure out what's interesting and what's not. And it wasn't a huge grocery haul. I wanted to get my turkey and my ham for Thanksgiving because now that I'm with Greg, I can do two different meats instead of just the turkey that Kiddo and I would normally do. And he likes ham, so now I make a ham. There's a lot that I want to showcase, and I am going to definitely tape making Thanksgiving dinner because I only do it once a year. I don't do it for Christmas. Christmas, we do our own special Christmas pizzas instead because when you do that big a meal for Thanksgiving, I never enjoyed doing it again for Christmas. I didn't see the point of it. Most Christmas, for me, I want to get my gifts, play with my gifts because I often used to get gifts that I could, play with, whether they were handheld stuff or consoles and stuff. I didn't want to deal with eating. I wanted to play with my toys. So I just never liked the whole idea of, well, no, we got together and have a big Christmas feast. Not for me. Plus, I prefer Yule for me to be a nice, calm, relaxed day where we're just chill. And that's how our Thanksgiving is too. I went from the big family gatherings for Thanksgiving to just keeping it quiet meal, dog show, and relaxing. And I don't have any regrets because, like I said, and I will keep saying, I am in protect my peace mode. But I'm going to wrap this portion up because I don't want to get to rambling. I know I have some footage of me on the exercise bike and trying to act like it's the next day, but it's probably not. It's probably going to be the footage that I taped yesterday, actually, on the bike. And I'm showered up now. I've got Bonnet Chronicles to do later on today. For now, we are going to be doing it at Kiddo's desk in the kitchen until I get my actual studio area set up. But it's fine. Everything is coming along the way I want it, and I am super excited about all the content and stuff that we'll be able to do. And it's like I said, this home vlog is basically just going to be me talking a lot. And I think as I reveal stuff, people will see that life has been up, down, in between, but it's been interesting. So I will leave you with that and move on to the next segment, which will probably be me baking cookies because I really wanted to show off those cookies, and I'm excited. I've got the recipe and everything all loaded. Matter of fact, let me put that up next before I wrap that up because I was really truly excited about that. Let me find that picture, and I promise you it is not old lady puttering again. I actually made sure to save it in the slideshow proper. And there we go. For anybody that is looking for the cookie recipe, there it is. Um, this is just how I make my peanut butter cookies. I know that it is definitely not uh, fat free or gluten free friendly. So if you're looking for those options, there are plenty of things online. But if you want the cookies the way I bake them, this is the list. And hopefully that will help some of you home cooks out with just a variation of a standard recipe. My family loves them. I enjoy them. I think they come out just the way I like them. But I am going to wrap this up with that cookie recipe. And thank you all for watching this bit. All right, end of the day in my room cam. Just wanted to thank everybody for watching, if you're watching, and just wanted to show you that yes, exercise is possible as a big person, and just show you just parts of the day, parts of being a pet owner, and really talk about things like Action Wolf and I getting together was special for me. We met in, like I said in the first home vlog, in a video game. We started talking almost 18 years ago. We started dating about 7 years ago. After my life stopped being so messy and I just started figuring out who I was. I think chasing a partner wastes so much of your life because if you don't know who you are, how can you be there for somebody? How can you commit to somebody when you're not sure who you are? And being with my best friend, he's never not seen a side of me. My manic side, my upside, my downside, all in between, and it's the same for him. So it really does make me crazy watching people utilizing partners because that proves that they're desirable. If you need somebody else to prove your desirability, you're not desirable. And I know it's hard for people to hear that, but and it doesn't feel like it makes sense. But if you don't feel confident, you might attract somebody that wants to use you, which I had in my past. I fetishized Italian men, and I was with a very emotionally and physically abusive person because of it. Those were like really dark days for me, and moving away from that life was so important to me. And now that I have actual stability and home life that I wanted, that peace that I want to protect, it just troubles me watching people go, well, I've got this and I got that, but who are you without it? I can say without my partner, I'm still a writer. I'm still a mom. I'm still doing everything I can to be me. 10. or Kalari if I'm online, because that's my online handle. I feel that people don't know who they are and they try to get a partner to define themselves. And when you're doing stuff like that, you tend to lose your way. That's the best way I could say it, because you mold yourself to what you think they want, or you try to make them, you know, fit a narrative that you're crafting instead of just being yourself. And when you do stuff like that, when you're in relationships and it isn't about you being yourselves, it's rough. And I'm lucky. I really feel like I found my perfect partner. He knows when to bother me, when to leave me alone, give me my space. He encourages my creative path. He encourages what I'm doing. He would accept me whether I wanted to lose weight or not. But I'm glad that he's supportive of the fact that I do want to get back into a better shape. He got this house. He knows that because of my introversion, I really don't do well with people. We have our friends, but I don't do well with people. I get paranoid. So having somebody that understands and doesn't judge me on that, it's just been magical. And I think that when you do find your partner, you're not out there saying, "Oh, I got my man. What about you?" That's weird. Who are you proving to at that point? And I know that by hearing me say this, you know who I'm directly calling out with this. Because when you use your relationships as a accessory instead of an enhancement in your life, you can tell. You're not being enhanced by your relationship if you've got to use it to flaunt and prove that, oh, I'm desirable. Do you really feel desirable? There are days where I don't, and I'm honest about that. But I know I am. And I know I'm good enough. And when I got that self worth, that was when I was able to see the partner I deserve to be with. And I am in a good, content place. And I think there's a difference between those who seek relationships to validate themselves and those who get in relationships after you have your own self worth and validation. That's all I can give to that. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching this. Hopefully, I'll be able to splice in other stuff because I really do like talking about Axiom Wolf in my relationship. I like the whole idea of showing pet ownership, and not even pet ownership, pet family adoption, because that's what bringing Callie into our lives was. And I think that talking candidly about our lives and stuff will help give you a perspective of the non messy side of YouTube, hopefully. But I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching.